Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first part of my three-part mini-series that is, reviewing all three seasons of American Horror Story. And the first chapter in this little mini-series part, what have you, is American Horror Story Murder House, which is the first season. Now, when I was watching this show live, it was just called American Horror Story. No one knew that there was going to be a subtext every season. So then, when they called the second season Asylum, they were like, hey, let's kind of put the subtext Murder House, because that's what the basis of American Horror Story Season 1 is Murder House. It's a house, and the basis of it is that no one who lived in the house has ever, survived. Everyone who's ever lived in the house has died, and it's fucking crazy. It's just like I said, this season is a wild ride, and it's honestly one of my favorite seasons in television, ever. I cannot express how much I really, really love this show. This show came out of nowhere for me. I just saw these creepy promos, and I was like, oh, you know what? American Horror Story? This show looks cool. And I checked it out, and I remember just being blown out of the park by the acting, the writing. It was really fantastic. And going a little more in depth, American Horror Story Murder House, or Season 1, the basis of it is that it follows, basically, for Christ's sakes, okay, I'm just going to go right into it. It follows Ben Harmon, who's played by Dylan McDermott, and his wife, Vivian Harmon, who's played by, I cannot think of her name off the top of my head, and their daughter, Violet. And basically what happens is she has a stillborn baby, and as you know, that can really cause tension during a marriage. And basically, Ben is like, you know what, I'm going to go fuck this young student of mine, because he was a teacher in Boston before they eventually moved to California into the murder house. And so he fucks Zoe from House of Cards, which, by the way, I did not know she was actually in that until I watched House of Cards. I was looking through a deal, and I thought it was fantastic, because Kate Mara is a fantastic actress. Just fantastic. Look her up. Watch House of Cards. Fantastic. So he fucks her, and then Vivian finds out, and she's like, bah! And she stabs her. Well, she doesn't stab him. She cuts his arm. And then they move to, Los Angeles, and they're like, it's a new start, because, you know how that happens with affairs. Sometimes they get back together, and they're like, okay, let's, move somewhere else. So, that shit happens, and they move into this house. And they're like, oh, and it's a really creepy house and whatnot, and, they get there, and their real estate agent, tells them that the former gay couple that lived there, one of who is Spock, apparently, they died in a murder-suicide, supposedly. And they've got this crazy, well, somewhat crazy, she's more of a calm, you ever watch Breaking Bad, you see Gus Fring, I would compare Constance to him, she's crazy, but she's calm crazy, she's not now don't get me wrong, there are times when she goes fucking ballistic, but for the most part, she just, she looks like she's just so calm, cool, and collected, but you can tell there's something off about her, you can see it in her eyes. And Jessica Lange, the woman who plays Constance, she is fantastic. She's a fantastic actress. I think she's been the most consistent actor on every season so far. And I think she was the second best actor during this season. She didn't steal the season like another character, but basically, so Ben starts opening up, therapy in this house, once they get all moved in. And he meets this guy who is, he makes an appointment with him. This dude's name is Tate. He's played by Evan Peters. You might know him. He plays Marty, or whatever his name is, in the first Kick-Ass movie. I don't even know if anyone knows what I'm talking about. He literally got replaced by a really annoying dude in the second one. Which is unfortunate, because I love Evan Peters. He's a fantastic actor. And I thought he stole this season. I thought his portrayal of Tate stole this season, because it was just he's a really confusing guy. I mean, of course, he falls in love with Ben's daughter, Violet, and then that goes places. But basically, before that, when you started, they go up to the attic, and Ben finds this, rubber suit. And this rubber suit, if you ever saw the original trailers, this rubber suit, or the Rubber Man as it's called, it was all over. It was all over everything. Hell, it's even the box art. I believe it's even in 2 of the pictures that will be out of the 5 that I will be showing on this video while you're watching it. Because it was the symbol for this season. And it was fucking awesome. The Rubber Man, it was it's a GIMP outfit, of course. If you don't know a GIMP outfit, you wear this rubber suit with a mask, you fucking, that kind of shit. The zipper. Yeah, okay. I'm sure people have watched Pulp Fiction. You know what a GIMP suit is. So basically, they're like, oh man, we should throw it out. And they throw it out, and then the next thing you know, by the end of the first episode, which I'm not going to go too much into spoilers. I will at the end of the video more, but basically this is just a setup for the first episode, so it's not really spoilery, and plus the show's been out for 3 years, so calm down. And basically, Vivian's sitting there, and she sees, she sees what she thinks is Ben wearing the rubber suit, walking in, and she's like, oh, you're being all kinky, and then weird foreplay ensues, and so she gets railroaded by the rubber man while Ben is off doing he was like almost lit his hand on fire in the kitchen or something, and basically, to a degree, she got raped, but she didn't really, she didn't know, she thought it was Ben, she seemed into it, and so because of this, she is pregnant, and also, which if y'all don't know, obviously that wasn't Ben, and the twins have 2 different fathers. One of them is Ben's, one of them is the rubber man's. Whose will it be? And this is not a spoiler. This really isn't. This is just the end of the first episode. So then, all that shit ensues. Like I said, and also, there's this maid who, women and normal people and who understand what's going on. They see her as an old woman who you might know. She's Barney Stinson's mother on How I Met Your Mother. I don't know the actor's name. I'm sorry. But guys see her as this young, sexy little, a really, really attractive woman, and it's damn, and so she tries to get Ben to fuck her, and Violet sees it, and she's like, why are you fucking that, why is that old woman feather dusting your dick, weird shit like that. Also, Violet gets kind of weird, and also, things get kind of weird whenever you go down to the basement. In the basement, there's this weird thing, it's called the infantata, the origins of which, basically, like I said, everyone who's ever been in this house died. Well, guess what? They're all still there. And so the infantata, really fucked up story, basically. This dude, basically this doctor that was there, who would do illegal surgeries, abortions and stuff like that, at the time, because it was I believe the 60s or 50s, or maybe even 40s. And so, basically what happens there is, some mob guy got pissed, or I don't remember what it was, and he kidnaps his baby and kills it, and which is really fucked up, and sends him the baby in pieces, but you don't see the baby pieces, of course, because that would be really fucked up, and I don't think you can do that on television. It's you ever seen Max Payne? It's like that, where you see the crib, but you don't see the dead baby, because you can't show dead babies on TV. That would be fucked up. So then, that whole deal happens, and he's like, oh my god, so he tries to piece it back together, and he brings it back to life, and it's really fucked up. And I do believe also that, God, I can't remember who played the mom, but she tries to breastfeed it and gets your scratch marks on her breast. It's really, really disturbing. And it's thank God they didn't show baby infantata, because that would have been uber fucked up. Because I think that's one of those things where leave it to the imagination. Don't show a weird fucked up baby that's all stitched together and stuff. Leave that to the imagination. Let the people imagine how fucked up this thing might look. Because I remember when I was watching that, I was like, oh god, please don't show it. And I was just thinking in my head, oh my god, this thing must look fucking insane looking. It must be the most disturbing thing imaginable, And it's crazy. Like I said, that's the thing I love about American Horror Story. Even though a lot of it, the infantata itself, you only saw it 2 or 3 times. In its full, for the most part, you kind of got left to the imagination. I think, the other day, for the first time forever, I finally actually looked at pictures of it, and it's really, the infantata itself isn't even, freaky. Of course, it makes you startle a couple times, but for the most part, it's, I don't know what it is. It's more of the imagination, because you look at still pictures of it, it just looks like a person. But you look at it there, and then it's just really, just a lot different. Also, this whole deal happens where, with Halloween, where Violet and Tate are oh my god, oh my god, and they're super into each other, and I think he takes her virginity at one point, I believe. Yes, he does. Yeah, he takes her virginity. It's really, really it's kind of an awkward scene where he's like, did it hurt? It always hurts the first time. Well, okay, that's not Evan Peters' voice, but still. And that was kind of interesting. And then the whole thing where Halloween, where, it's the day where the dead can walk among the free, and Zachary Quinto, I can't remember if it was Zachary Quinto or one of the gay guys that was dead in the house, the gay couple. He likes to go and fuck, around on Halloween, which, hey, to each his own. Who am I to judge? And, so Tate and Violet are going to go on a date, and then these, dead, teenagers with, really, they've got, major wounds, one of them can't talk, and they're like, oh, look at Tate, oh, Tate, you did this to us, we didn't do anything to you, and she's like, what the hell is going on? Because she doesn't know what the fuck is going on. And then basically, because of this, Violet does some digging. And in this digging, Violet discovers that there was a student named Tate Langdon, who was Tate, of course, and that this kid, Tate Langdon, shot up his school. He shot up his school. It was a Columbine type thing, and the scene is shown, and, spoilers right here, Tate has been dead this whole time. Because after Tate shot up his school, he went home, the police came, a SWAT team, they shot him down when he was trying to defend himself, and that's what happened. So Violet lost her virginity to a fucking ghost. Also, I should probably bring up the fact that also it is learned that Tate is Constance's son. Like, damn. So Constance, of course, you also learn has actually 3 kids. Addie, who is I believe she has Down syndrome, and she's cool. She was a cool character. Like, I think she's a fantastic character. And she's a really sweet character who eventually, during the Halloween episode, is unfortunately ran over by a car and dies. And, of course, this is also when you learn about the whole rule that's how you get on the lawn, because Constance starts dragging her to the lawn, like, oh, we gotta get her on the lawn. Addie's death, I think that it's one of the things where the show was great, but Addie's death, I feel, really got the ball rolling as far as how dark the show is. Like, truly is. Don't get me wrong, this show has been dark, but by the end, I believe it was the end of episode 5, was the end of Halloween Part 2, when Addie dies. That's just what it really, Addie's death, as much as I loved Addie as a character, as much as it made me sad that they had to kill her off, because she was cool, I liked her, she was a good actor. And it also is one of those things where I feel like that this even helps, because you can prove, hey, people with Down syndrome can act. Like, I mean, having a mental disability doesn't make you a bad actor, it doesn't mean you can't achieve something, like, that's what I love, and she was a fantastic character, she played her role perfectly, and like I said, she was just fantastic. And, so Addie, I don't believe I know the name of the actress who played her, but she was really good. And I believe she does have Down syndrome in real life, which is why I was pointing out that fact. Anyway, nonetheless, Constance also has a 3rd child who, it's really depressing. His name is Bo, and he, rolls a ball in the attic, and he's all chained up and super deformed, and it's really depressing. That's really depressing. And also, Constance killed her husband, by the way. She killed her husband and the maid, which is why when you see the old maid, she has a glass eye. And like I said, I'm kind of feeling a couple plot points I left out just so you can understand the review more. So when I say something, you're like, who the fuck is that? Also, then there's Larry, Mr. Burn victim. Now, he has, brain cancer, I believe, and he's also super burned, and he starts following Ben around, and Ben's like, what the fuck, get away from me. And Larry's like, you need to know about the house. The house fucked me up, made me kill my children and stuff. And basically, he lied and said that the house put voices in his head and made him kill his family. But the thing is, and that's how he got burned. But the thing is, I believe he did kill his family. I believe he did. He did. And his family is in the house, and there's this really epic scene where he talks to his wife in the basement, and she's all burned and stuff, and she's all like, you did this on your own, Constance didn't make you. And he wants revenge, because Larry was having a affair with Constance at the time. And that's where all that came from. Also, the reason Larry is so burned was not because of the fire, it's because the day Tate went and shot up his school, he went to Larry's office and set him on fire. That is why Larry is so horribly burned, and that's why Larry has issues with Tate. And eventually, of course, then there's Travis, who's Constance's boy toy, because if you don't know, Constance was a cougar on the prowl, basically, and she found this young man, and she took him, and she did things to him. So that happened. And it's just, like I said, I really want to go in depth with all of the ghosts in the house, but I don't know if I really can. I mean, it's insane. Literally, if I went into detail with every single ghost, I honestly don't think I can. I don't think I can completely, every single ghost. Man, that's way too many. So then, okay, so also at this point, this is the point where Vivian goes to her whole deal where she gets looked into, and she gets her ultrasound for the child. And it's like, oh, one is stronger than the other. She's like, okay, because if you do not know, a lot of times when it comes to twins and triplets, the stronger one will start feeding off the weaker one. And it's really this really weird, complex thing, and I don't really quite understand it. I have not gone to medical school or really studied fetuses. But basically, the chick gets really freaked out, who's running the ultrasound whenever it glitches out, and then she's all like, "Oh my god, the hooves!" And then Vivian's like, "What the fuck? I ain't carrying no antichrist, bitch." And then it turns out that Constance is talking to her psychic friend, and she's like, "Oh yeah, guess what? The Pope like has this secret thing that says how the antichrist is gonna be born." It's like, what? Well, first of all, I'm pretty sure that isn't biblical. Like, if that's biblical, I'm not aware of this. Put that down in the comment section below. The Pope apparently has this magical thing. Whatever. So basically, Vivian birthing the anticrist. And, okay, so then, not only that, but I think it's time to see who the Rubber Man is. Like I said, spoilers right here. The Rubber Man is Tate. Tate, not only did he take Violet's virginity and fall in love with her, make her fall in love with him, he fucked her mom. He pretended to be Ben and fucked her mom dressed like a gimp. And impregnated her with the Antichrist, because apparently if a ghost and a human have a baby, it's the Antichrist, which I was not aware of this. Also. And also, Hayden or Kate Mara, her character comes, and she's like, "Oh my god, Ben, I need to, oh my god," and then Larry kills her, and that was kind of mean. And then she does things to Travis and gets really mad that Tate won't fuck her. Tate, you foolish boy. Look at Kate Mara. You can see her ass in House of Cards. No, okay, never mind. Off the topic of how awesomely attractive Kate Mara is, we dive into the whole aspect of the fact that, like, Travis, who I brought up earlier, who's Constance's boy toy, he's murdered and becomes the boy Dahlia. Now, if you're not aware, the Black Dahlia was a murder that took place sometime between the 40s and 60s. I'm not an expert on the Black Dahlia. I have a friend who is. I should have talked to him before I did this. And the whole thing is, the Black Dahlia is also a character who, she was, like, somehow killed by the doctor dude who was doing abortions, infantata. The dude who's the dad of the infantata or whatever. And, basically that whole deal happens, and I didn't want to include that. So Travis is, like, the boy Dahlia. And then, I think that was cool. They paid tribute to the, Black Dahlia, and that was cool. And also, one thing I really liked is, every episode began with, in some way, like, it was like, it's showing how one of these ghosts died. For example, the gay guys, it was not a murder-suicide. Tate literally fucking murdered them as the Rubber Man and shoved a fire poker up one of them's ass. That is exactly what happened. Like, it was really fucked up. Like, he shoved a fire poker, I believe it was Zachary Quinto's ass. Poor Spock. In this circumstance, I believe the needs of the many do not outweigh the needs of the few. You need to get the fuck out of there and avoid that goddamn fire poker up your ass. Yeah, I made a Star Trek Wrath of Khan reference in a fucking American Horror Story review. I know. I'm a fucking goddamn nerd. I'm aware of this. Let me finish the goddamn review. So, basically, all of that nonsense happens, and I believe I've covered everything. And then we get to the whole end, where... one thing I'm going to leave out is Violet, is like I used to be, where she skipped school. I never went to it to this extent, but she skipped school for, 6 straight weeks. Or something like that, and it turns out that Violet never left the house in this time in 6 weeks. And if you don't know, there was this episode where Violet couldn't sleep because of the ghost, and she started taking a bunch of pills and stuff. And the thing that happened was, it turns out she overdosed. Violet's been dead like half the season. It's insane, and her corpse is in the wall, and there's flies in it. Super grody. But yeah, Violet's dead. Damn. So Violet's been dead this entire time. So, yeah, it's just one of those crazy things. So many people dying left and right in the show. Ooh, also the fat dude from Malcolm in the Middle is in the show. I just wanted to make that very clear. The fat dude who would always flirt with Lois, he's in the show. He's the person who does those, murder tours and stuff, and, whatnot. And also, then Vivian is like, "I'm gonna have a baby," and Ben's like, "No." Oh, and also the reason I also left out the reason Kate Mara's character came back was because Ben went and tried to take her to get an abortion, and then she was like, "I'm not getting an abortion," and she can't have a baby, and it's super sad. And also, it turns out that the reason that Tate impregnated Vivian was because he wanted to give a baby to, I believe it was Lily Rabe's character? Perhaps, I don't believe... Okay, from what I saw, it said Lily Rabe, but I'm not completely... But I don't remember if it was Lily Rabe or if it was the chick who played Misty in the third season. It was one of the two. I get them confused sometimes for whatever reason, but it was someone. It was, it was the... I believe it was the mom of the infantata or something like that. I'm a little rusty in that area. I don't remember that very well. So then we get to the really same part where, oh man, Vivian's gonna have a baby... And Vivian's having the babies, and one of the babies dies. It's super sad. But then the other baby lives, and what happens to Vivian? Vivian dies during childbirth, but she's still in the house. I think it was a good choice to have Vivian die at that point, because her dying in childbirth made sense, because her dying any other way would have been stupid. Ben killing her, Ben's not a psychopath. Tate killing her, half of the people in this show were killed by Tate. Constance? Why? Why have Constance kill her? Like, no, her dying through child, why have anyone kill her? Why don't you just have her die of something fucked up like childbirth? Oh, not that childbirth is fucked up, it's just like, dying from childbirth is kind of fucked up and sad, and it's really depressing. So then Ben is super sad, because he also learned at this point, that, of course, that Violet is dead. So, and I thought this, like I said, I thought it was a good decision to kill off Violet, because I didn't think Violet was really dead. Now, I know some people who were like, oh man, I knew, a friend of mine was saying, he knew the entire time that she was dead, and, man, he actually guessed it, and I'll give him credit for that. So then, it's one of those things where, like I said, this story was fantastic, and these guys were just all going crazy. And then the final episode, Ben, of course, gets hanged by the home intruders who, I forgot to mention, but hey, I can't keep up with all these goddamn ghosts. And then, so they hang him, and then Ben's dead. So then everyone's pretty much dead. And then the babies, there's like, what about the baby? Zachary Quinto's like, I want the baby. And then, basically, Constance takes the baby. Oh, Constance. She takes her grandchild, the Antichrist. And she just goes and leaves that house. And then everyone is all... Oh, and also, one thing is, there is this fantastic scene, and it is one of my favorite scenes in this season, where I believe it is actually in this episode. It is in the finale, so it's not like I'm not tracing back a couple episodes. It was in the finale. If it wasn't, it was the end of the 12th episode, or whatever, the second to last. And where Ben is talking to the maid, he still sees her as the sexy young tarp, if you will, and... He's just talking to her, and she's all like, talking to him about Vivian's death, I believe. Yeah, because I think Vivian had died at this point. I don't remember. They were talking about something, and it was just this insane. It was this incredibly. I just remember. Okay, I don't remember the exact details of the conversation. I just remember really enjoying it. And basically, it just ends with him seeing her as an old woman, and she's like, now you're starting to see things the way they actually are. And I was like, oh my god. Man, that scene was fantastic. Like I said, man, this show is awesome. So then we end it with every single person in the house is dead again, and there's this great scene where they scare off this Mexican family that's trying to move in there, and and also there's this fucking hilarious scene where Ben and Vivian stab each other because, hey, they're ghosts, you can't kill them, so they can stab each other at will. They're like, you have no idea how long I've been waiting to do that. So then you see the scene where it's nice, and they got a Christmas tree, and they're all around, and they've got, it's just this really fucked up dead ghost family. Oh, all of them. You got Tate, who shot up his school, Violet, who overdosed on sleeping pills, Vivian, who died in childbirth, Ben, who got hung by the home invaders who got killed by Tate, I believe, and then I think one of them survived, I don't remember. And just, everyone, and they're all a nice, happy, fucked up family, and then the gay guys are there, and they're happy. Spock, he's so happy. And it's just one of those things, well, Spock is the gay guy, whatever. And then it all ends happily, then it says 3 years later, and then it shows Jessica Lange playing Constance, of course, and his hairdresser, she's like, I've got to tell you, raising my grandbaby on my own, I'm a strong woman, it's taken all the strength in me. And, yada, 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 because, she did so well with the other 3 kids. And when I say that, okay, look, she let one of them unsupervisedly get hit by a car on Halloween. Why you're dressed as Snoopy? You don't let your child, let alone your Down syndrome child, go trick-or-treat by themselves on Halloween where they can get hit by a car. You chained your extremely disformed son up in the attic forever, and he eventually died. And then your other son, he resented you so much that he shot up his school. So you know what? You really are not this strong woman, Constance. Now, don't get me wrong, Jessica Lange, I think she was the second best character this season. Fantastic, but it's just one of the things you point out how Constance is this selfish bitch. Like, she's like, it's taking my strength to raise my grandbaby. It's just crazy. Like, she's so high, all high and mighty. Because why? Because Constance won. Constance won. Everyone wanted that baby. Everyone. And everyone in that house is dead. They are stuck in that house. They ever want to find Constance, they gotta figure out where the fuck she is on Halloween. or what, they've got like 12 hours to do it or some shit like that. And that's probably not gonna happen. It's just one of those crazy things where Constance is one because no one else can go and get that baby. It's pretty fucking irritating. This bitch, she's the winner. It's like, oh, look at me, I'm Constance. Fucking Constance. So she's gonna raise the Antichrist, you know. That's totally cool. You've gotta, you know, assume the events in this show take place in a television universe where, of course, God would exist if the Antichrist exists. So, you know, I assume Constance has a special place in heaven saved because of the fact that she's raising the Antichrist, right? Fuck. Constance. Oh, and also, Constance is such a bitch that Larry, who had the evidence to turn her in, locked himself up. Which, okay, that was actually kind of cool. But he could have gotten that bitch Constance locked up. Constance is fucking, oh. Don't get me wrong, though. I loved to hate that character. That character was fantastic. I just loved to hate her. So then she goes home, and then in the ending scene, you see her going into her new house, and you see there's blood on the floor, and she's like, oh my god. And she goes into the room, and what does she see? She sees the maid, or not the maid, you know, that was main character, but her maid. It's a different maid. I believe she appeared to be, you know, she was maid, and she's covered in blood, and she sees her, you know, grandson, Antichrist. He's on the, you know, he's like 4 years old at this point, 3 years old. He's sitting on the bed laughing and stuff, which also, a picture of this should be one of the pictures out of the 5 I chose. I just thought it was such a great thing. I love that picture. I thought it was fantastic. I thought that scene was fantastic. And then the baby's just like smiling. He's got like blood on him and stuff. Looking back, it reminds me of Dexter. And then basically the kid's got blood on him and stuff, and Constance just looks at him and he's like, oh, what am I gonna do with you? Ending this season in that fucking bitch saying one of the... that scene was fantastic. This season was fantastic. Like I said, man, I watched this season like twice now, I believe, and Jesus fucking Christ, this season was fantastic. In my opinion, I think it was the best overall season, but if you really want to hear my full thoughts on this entire series so far, then parts 2 and 3 of this little mini-series where I review all 3 seasons, coming in the next 2 weeks. Final thoughts on American Horror Story Murder House. I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was the best overall season, one of my favorite seasons in television history. Evan Peters, Jessica Lange, Dylan McDermott, all at the top of their game. Zachary Quinto's always great. Like I said, do yourself a favor and check this show out. I totally recommend it to anyone, because the thing with American Horror Story that I love so much is my thing with horror is this. I would rather watch a really fucking creepy show that makes me jump out of my chair once or twice in 13 fucking episodes with an amazing story than a 12-episode show that is nothing but, oh my god, I'm scared, oh, there's a monster, and shitty story. So I prefer my horror movies, great story, extremely creepy, not all jump scares. That's what I like. And American Horror Story satisfied me as a horror fan. So what did you think of American Horror Story Murder House? Did you like it as much as the other 2 seasons? I think feel free to subscribe for other great content every week with my personal reviews, Wrestling with Mac, and my other show, C&C Reviews, every single Wednesday on here. Like I said, comment just comment your thoughts. Did you think this was the best season? Did you think it was the worst? If you thought it was the worst, what the fuck is wrong with you? I kid. We all have our own opinions. But nonetheless, like I said, just let me know. What do you guys think? And like I said, next 2 weeks, this comes out on Friday. I'm recording it on Wednesday. And then next 2 weeks will be the same with Asylum and Coven. So like I said, next review, American Horror Story Asylum, part 2 of this little mini-series. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'm Caleb Johnston. I'll see you on the next one.